Sounds drive.
Hello everybody and welcome to my Vision project, starting off with the owner's manual. Going into the basic principles of operation, the Vision project's main goal is to use an Insight 5100 camera to inspect a part of any kind for a pass or fail inspection depending on what said camera is looking for, while also developing an HMI that will not only help control the process but be able to keep track of how many parts were sorted. Plus, networking this to be able to be controlled from anywhere in the world. With this project, I use QR codes of any kind of parts to be scanned, not only letting the right QR codes pass the end of the conveyor, while the rest will be pushed off into a discard bin using an air cylinder. All of this is controlled by either the push buttons on the selector switch on the panel itself, or stopping it with the E-stop on the junction box, or with the stop touch buttons on the HMI interface. Next, going into the wiring diagrams, here's my inputs and outputs. Here's my CAD for my devices, my safety relay, and then the relay is using for my output itself. Here's a drawing of the project. Here we have the panel view in the back plane. And then here is the drawing for all my devices in my cabinet. Here's how to operate the manual. Here's some troubleshooting techniques if you have any trouble with the device itself or the project malfunctioning. And then now going over the HMI, going on the display and how to operate it, all like the input devices and what goes into it. We're going to show up if you have a pass or failed part. Here's the alarm history page. And then here's security for all the logins. Here are the parts that I use with the different QR codes and the different sizes of like the part itself. This is before when I just opened the cabinet for the first time. And then going over my cab once again, just in a bigger, more definition look. On the left we have the inputs and the right we have the outputs. Showing all the connections. Left here is the devices from the transformer, and the right is the safety relay with all blown up so it's easier to see. Then we have the drawings. There's my cabinet again with my devices, my transformer, and my safety relay. And then here we have the CAD for my junction boxes and my Ethernet switch, and then my compressed air. This is my network map. And this is after I got it all wired. There's the other side of the cabinet with the buttons and the panel view. Now going over my Excel sheet. Here's my conceptual drawing. Here's my parts list and all the stuff I uses for my inputs and outputs and my power supply, my switches. Here's my I/O map for all my inputs. Here's all the outputs. And then my timers and counters. And then the bill of materials list, going through all the stuff that I had to go through to buy it. Everything that went into it. And the total came out to be $16,241.60. Here's all my wiring that I used. Now going through the program itself, starting out with like the start-stop logic. Here's my system enable. And then we have the logic for the conveyor running. The timers and counters from the encoder. There's the camera logic. And that's just for the counting and stuff like that. The reset logic. And then going with my subroutine for the camera control. And then the alarm page.
And this is the Insight Explorer software that I use for my Insight 5100 camera by Cognex for the traffic I'm running for inspection. On the right, you will see the ID code state of pass, and if it's true, you'll let the part go through. And then right now I'm loading a new part on, so when the new point pops up, it should be a pass. And there it is. It took a trigger from the program, and then it took a picture, and then it's bringing it back. We're going to go to the program, and then scrolling down over here, showing that it's a pass, going down and adding the count to there.
Now jumping into the HMI Overview. I'm logged into the admin so I can see all the controls. Going to the main display, this is where the operator and the admin will only see the reset button. Starting in auto mode. Put the part in front of the distance sensor. Goes through and the camera scans it. To pass part. Going down the conveyor into the good tube. And here is showing it you can stop and start it from any part after the inspection. Putting a part in front of the distance sensor again. Camera scans it, and then this one was a failed part, so it's going to go down and the air cylinder is going to push it off into the discard bin. As you can see in my HMI, puts it over, and then it resets. So the next part will be going down. And as you can see, the counts are going up. Next, showing off all the alarms. This one was stopped before inspection. Either reset it back over and just put the part back through. This one was the system started before the air to the minimum PSI of 10, so it stops the system and you put it back to start. This one is the camera's offline when you started the system, so it cannot inspect the part. You put it back to the distance sensor. This means the E-stop was pressed, so you get to restart it. Now going to the alarm history page. You can acknowledge them if you're the admin. You can only clear it if you're the admin. Now going to reset the count. The screen was a little bit dirty, so it took a little bit longer for me to reset it than I wanted to. We got there in the end. Just hold it for 5 seconds and the count should restart. There it is. And then putting in a manual mode. The system will turn off after every part. And here it is working. And you can see that count of parts passed goes up by 1 just again. Continuing into the project overview, so you can see the whole project in itself. You can see the stack light on top with the cabinet itself, and then you can see the camera and the wooden box on the left, and my junction box on the left. Putting it in automatic mode, E-stop was pressed, alarm came up, just push to stop, auto mode, start. Putting a part in front of the distance sensor, and here's the automatic mode for a failed part. Part goes in the inspection booth. Tail popped up in the PLC. And the air cylinder will push it off into the discard bin. Going again, and then now showing you the automatic mode for the pass part. Goes in for inspection. HMI shows that it's a pass part. And it goes all the way down the conveyor. And then now we're going to show you the E-stop being pressed. Works from both sides. then showing off the manual mode for the failed part. Hit the fail, goes in, the cylinder pushes into the discard bin, and then the system will shut off. And there it is.
Now going over what I added to the project, I used a stack light on top of the cabinet for light indicators, a pressure sensor for the air cylinder for the presence of air, a junction box on the left side of the project for extra safety and it made it easier to wire, the rotary encoder to know where the part is on the conveyor, and then going over what went well. I like the layout of this project with adding the junction box on the side to make it all look more neat. The rotary encoder didn't need any high-speed bits since the motor didn't turn the conveyor too fast, so it stayed accurate when locating the block on the HMI and using counters in the program. The camera software was easy to learn for inspections. Wiring up the cabinet was much easier than expected. The programming didn't take too long to put together, and the HMI came out clean and easy on the eyes for ease of operation.
Going into the summary, in the end this project wasn't as hard as I originally thought. I believe I spent my time well and stayed focused throughout. I wish I could have done some more research early on to get a better head start, but I will do better in the next project. I like learning about new pieces of equipment like the rotary encoder and the safety relay and the Insight 5100 and the software behind it. If there's anything I could have changed about this project, it would have been using 2 conveyors, one loading the parts and keeping a bit shift, and for another sorting out good and bad ones. I wish I could have added a proc sensor at the end to make sure finished parts got to the end of the line. But overall, I got more out of this project than I originally intended, and I like the way it turned out, but there's always room for improvement. Thanks so much for watching!